The Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill has been approved by the Ghanaian Parliament. The law, if enacted by President Nana Akufo-Addo, will imprison LGBTQIA plus individuals for a maximum of 3 years, simply for identifying as members of the community. Additionally, it will make it illegal for journalists to cover events and issues related to the community. Nana Akufo-Addo, the President of Ghana, has been cautioned by the country's finance minister that the law may result in sanctions being placed on the West African nation. The South African government is being urged to OUT LGBT Well-being and other organizations to take firm action against the bill in Ghana. We're now joined by Siya Hlengwa, who is with an LGBTQIA+, who is an activist, rather. Thank you very much, Siya, for your time this morning. Maybe we can start with your preferred pronoun, please.
My pronouns are she and her.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that.
Alrighty. What is it with this bill in Ghana that has caused an issue, per se, with your organization?
Thank you. Thank you for the platform. My name is Siya Hlengwa. I represent Isikuso Mama, but I'm also one of the directors at Be True to Me. It's been really concerning with the emergence of these legislative shifts across the African continent, with Ghana being the latest to contribute to this. Anti-LGBTQ legislation makes it delegitimized to express yourself as a member of the community. And this, of course, is an injustice within itself. People cannot live freely. People cannot speak freely and be themselves in their own countries of birth. And it's quite concerning with the rise of violence against the community and discrimination. And this, of course, will only exacerbate the current situation of a lack of acceptance that we're seeing emerging.
Right. Siya, when you take a look at some of the laws that are being enacted on the continent, for you, what does it speak to? Is it a lack of understanding of the community and the continent's history, maybe, per se, as well? Or what do you characterize it? What is your understanding of what you see?
Thank you. Thank you for that question. For me, it's quite concerning, particularly because it speaks to the leaders not fully understanding their mandate, not understanding the core reason for their seating in these leadership positions. We want to see the eradication of poverty. We want to see sustainable development. We want to see access to education. We want to see safer environments for our people. And none of that has anything to do with the politics of bedroom positioning and sexuality. And it concerns me that the priority of our leaders in some of the African countries, that their priorities have shifted to not the bellies of their people, not the poverty that they see around them, not the rising crime, but instead what's happening in the bedrooms of their population, to even start passing bills and using state resources and taxpayers' money to spend and expend resources in implementing and enacting bills that speak to segregating an already starving, unemployed, underdeveloped country that is Ghana. And even Nigeria itself seeing such vast inequality, having passed a similar bill quite recently. And it's concerning because it means that the rest of the population don't matter to the leaders. They don't see a need to prioritize bills that speak to, and even technology advancements that should be implemented. Resources should be funneled to eradicating poverty, to dealing with these more dire issues that are facing our people on the African continent. And it seems as though we've elevated our agenda to meeting that of the West, where, they can afford to worry about what happens in their citizens' bedrooms. While in Africa, we've got so much to deal with. And our leaders definitely need to be reconscientized as to what priority issues are and what their people are dealing with.
When you speak of resources, what is the intended, unintended consequence, right? So you find a country, and I do beg your pardon if I'm conflating issues that have nothing to do with each other. It's just merely trying to connect the dots. An example in my mind is that you think of sex work, for instance, where people are criminalized, right? But there is still a need. So you find that those who buy the services are not criminalized, but those who render the services are criminalized. And some have been complaining about access to health care. And so what is the intended, unintended consequence when such bills are passed, when people need to then access health care?
That's a great scenario that you've set there. I mean, it's quite concerning because obviously already the delegitimization of sex work is something that's an issue across the African continent. And if you are a member of the LGBTQ practicing in that space, already you put yourself in a double layer of delegitimization and also danger in terms of being targeted by authorities and other nefarious groups who have hate toward the community. Already there's an issue around access to health care. You know, there aren't enough facilities on the African continent. We barely have enough professionals that are willing to stay and invest their professional services to our people, with the growing numbers of unemployment, particularly among youth and marginalized populations like the LGBTQ. So it becomes all the more concerning then if such resources that are taxpayer-based and focused are being used as the state to prioritize issues that are very much soft targets, very much at the bottom of the agenda when we look at the hard-hitting, hardcore issues that affect our people on a daily basis.
What are you calling on the South African government to do?
Yes, that's a great point. We are calling on the South African government. I mean, we've always trusted our parliament to stand up against injustice. We've seen them do this many, many times over, and we trust them on this part as well to join us in our rally to get our people, jointly organizations, companies, and governments especially, to call out the parliamentarians and the leaders of Ghana, but also to stand in solidarity with the LGBTQ organizations that are currently experiencing this kind of delegitimization in this work that we do, fighting for the rights of our people.
Siya, thank you very much for your time this morning. Siya Hlengwa, she's with OUT Well-being LGBTI.